Hi there, this is Darla with Creative Biz School, and I am very excited to have on our call today Miss Rivka. Rivka, I just completely forgot your last name.
Kwano.
That's what, Kwano.
You can just call me Rivka.
I'm just going to say Rivka.
I'm just going to be the Rivka, and that's fine.
I think you should brand yourself as the Rivka. I love it. Yeah, I have to say you are the first Rivka I've ever met.
It is a unique name in this part of the world. In other parts of the world, it is very, very common. However, I am the only Rivka Kwano on the planet. My first name is Hebrew, my last name is Japanese, and those are not combinations that come together very often. So, yeah.
There, you are truly unique. I love it. Yeah. Well, Rivka and I met in a mastermind group that we are a part of, and I highly recommend that if you are an entrepreneur, because many of us are solopreneurs, like myself and Rivka, or we have people that help us, here and there, but we're pretty much doing it ourselves. You need to have that. You need to have that network of other like-minded souls. So we met in a mastermind, and Rivka is extremely knowledgeable in the online world, especially in social media. So Rivka, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do?
Thank you so much. I'm really excited to be on the call, and I completely agree with you, Darla, about the importance of masterminds. They are fantastic. But I work in social media, so basically everything to do with social media, but more importantly, getting actual real results on your social media. So I help train businesses, work with entrepreneurs and solopreneurs to figure out their social media strategy and their content and how to put the pieces all together so you can actually see things moving forward in your business as a result of social media, instead of it just being a big time waster.
Which it can be, I understand. It can be that.
Very easily.
Yeah, very easily it can be. So how did you get started doing what you do? So you would call yourself a social media manager?
I do management. Okay. I've been, over the last couple of years, kind of moving away from that. I still do some management, but I do less of it, mostly because I'm just doing more speaking and have a book coming out and all of that kind of stuff. But how I first got started is actually kind of an interesting story, and the world twists and turns in weird ways. Mm-hmm. But when I first got started doing it, was actually doing a completely different type of business. I was doing video marketing back when video marketing meant creating videos for internal use and with current clients and employees and that kind of stuff. This was before YouTube even existed.
Right.
And we had one particular client that was a cloth diaper service, meaning that they would pick up your dirty cloth diapers and wash them and then drop off clean ones once a week. And they had a big retention problem because nobody knew how to change a cloth diaper. Cloth diapering kind of skipped a generation in there. And the parents of the 80s used disposables and couldn't help their millennial children who now wanted to be green and more earth-friendly, et cetera, et cetera. Mm-hmm. So we were working on doing these videos about how to change a cloth diaper that they could send out to new customers. And I said, there's this new thing called Facebook. And I think it would be really helpful for you to start building those relationships with your customers and having those conversations that they're having trouble having that are the reasons they're dropping out of your service. Because in their particular business, with their pricing model, they pretty much didn't start making money on a customer until they'd been a customer for a couple of months. And they had so many people drop out before then that it was a big problem. Mm-hmm. So we started their Facebook page, and at that point in time, I had two little ones in diapers at the time, a 1-year-old and an infant.
Wow.
And I said, I'll just manage this for free for you in exchange for cloth diaper service. Mm-hmm. So that was how I got my first client. I was getting paid in diapers.
Hey, that works.
Yeah. And it gave me a chance to experiment and learn the platform and try a lot of things. And then as we had success with that, of course, what should always happen in every successful business, is you start getting referrals. And people said, well, what are you doing for them that's working? Can you help me? Mm-hmm. And it just kind of exploded from there. And then because I got to grow up kind of alongside social media, I've got this perspective that a lot of people don't have, who've only been doing it a year or two, and just being able to watch as new social media platforms came onto the scene and as they changed really dramatically. And so having that perspective really gave me the opportunity to see what's behind social media that makes it work in a meta kind of way. What's the big picture here? And figuring out what those underlying things were that apply no matter what social media you're on, no matter what industry you're in. Because starting with that cloth diaper service company, I started working with everything from real estate agents to CPAs to hair care products to service businesses, everything you can think of, really. And it showed me that some things just work all the time in social media, and some things are very industry and business specific. So being able to figure out what those universals were gave me a perspective that brought me to where I am today.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And I know I'm sure that, I know that your clients love you for what all you provide and what you do. And I know that that's not the only hat that you wear too. I know that you are an author and you are a speaker, and you were working with your sister, right?
Yep. I just wrote a children's book and she illustrated it. So we're in the process of crowdfunding the publication of that book, which is another one of those meta experiences, because I'm traditionally publishing my social media book at the same time.
Wow.
So it's interesting to watch the similarities and the differences between both traditional and self-publishing, as well as between children's literature and nonfiction. And again, it's when you start getting into the bigger picture of things, I think, that you start getting some of your biggest aha moments.
Yeah, I think it's when you push yourself outside your comfort zone, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely. So so now that we kind of have an idea of what all you do and all the different hats you wear, and I know that you're a busy mom and things too. So what can you tell us, what are maybe some of the some tips that you maybe would like to share with us, either for social media, because I think a lot of my audience loves any kind of social media tips, but anything you would like to share with us, I'm sure that they would really appreciate, and I would too. So
awesome. Well, a lot of the questions that have to do with social media are more difficult because people will ask me questions like, here's some of the biggest questions I get. What social media platform should I be on? How many times a day do I need to be posting? What kinds of content work the best? And all of these questions, unfortunately, the answer is always, it depends.
It depends.
It depends on your business, your audience, your target market. The program that you're doing right now, Darla, that's one of the reasons that I put together this bonus for you that you're going to be able to be sending out to the people in your Creative Biz School program is because to try to delve in deeper, we can spend a couple hours if we really wanted to talk about which platform works best.
Right.
But we can boil it down to a few essentials. I think the biggest things to keep in mind is to be real and be authentic. A lot of times we forget all of our social skills at the login screen. So everything that we know about being personable and about how to approach people, for some reason we turn that off and we do things online that we would never do in person.
Right.
If you try to imagine what the real world, the corollary is to the type of interaction you're having, and then say, would I do this to a real person in real life? And if the answer is no, then you probably shouldn't do it online. Here's an example. Most of us would not randomly go up to someone on the street or in a coffee shop or at the store and shove our product in their face and say, do you want to buy this? That would be very random. But we do that all the time online. We take people we have no relationship with whatsoever and say, would you like to buy my product? Or click here to buy now. Without doing any of that work to introduce ourselves or let them know who we are. I work with a lot of authors as well as being an author, and it never ceases to amaze me how many people I'll connect with them on, let's say, Twitter, and their very first tweet to me is, here's a link to my book, would you please retweet it? And it's like, how is that serving my audience?
Right.
For me to be retweeting your book. And if, we have 60,000 followers on that Twitter account. If I did that for every single person that asked, it would just become a mess of spam.
Yes.
So thinking about what should we be doing to build those relationships. So being authentic, being real, thinking about the other person's perspective, taking the time to listen and respond to their cues rather than just talking at them. Again, this is all stuff that we do naturally in our day-to-day interaction. We just got to carry that over to online.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. And I find it amazing to me is that I feel like I'm starting to find my voice, and I'm starting to share personal things on my, I'll post it on Instagram, and sometimes I'll link it to my Facebook, to my business Facebook page. And I always get more engagement, more likes, more comments when it's something about my family, or if I'm on a trip, or, personal stuff. So I think it's really important to share, because we're all people, right? So,
yes.
Yeah. So as far as, are there any suggestions or thoughts or ideas as far as getting engagement? That's the one thing that I have to say for myself. I mean, I ask questions, I post questions, I try to share a lot of engaging things, I try to really keep my ratio good as far as giving twice more than what I ever post for myself. But I can't get a lot of engagement, and I don't know, is just engagement down on Facebook now, or what's up?
Well, that was the first thing. It does depend on the platform, for sure.
Yeah.
Because you're going to get different levels of engagement, and different things are going to work in different spaces.
Yeah.
Beyond that, Facebook is a particularly challenging space to be if you don't have that track record. And I would say just keep experimenting and try and see what works.
Okay.
But a lot of times we'll do little tweaks in a strategy, especially on social media, can make a huge difference.
Mm-hmm.
So let's just delve in onto this idea of questions for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
So say you're asking questions. And questions is a fantastic way to get engagement when done right.
Mm-hmm.
Now, here's what a lot of people do when they ask questions. They ask questions that are very self-serving, or that are very long, lengthy, or that don't have an easy response. So one way to improve your response with questions is, rather than, don't ask something like, how do you feel about blah, 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 blah. Or we'll just say Mother's Day was recently, so we'll just say, how do you feel about your mother?
Yeah.
That's something that psychologists could delve into forever and not have a full answer. If you ask, a more simpler question, like what's the one word that comes to mind? Think of your mother. Or if your mother was a color, what color would she be?
Yeah.
Or how many kids do you have?
Yeah. Yeah.
Those things are very simple, easy answers. Now, of course, all of those questions may not even be relevant to most niches. So if you want to talk about a specific example, you might say, which of these, Zillow does a great job of this.
Okay.
The house thing. They'll do 3 different libraries, photos of libraries, and then say, which of these libraries would you love to have in your house?
Yeah. That's great.
So you have to think about, what can I do that's going to make it just instinctive for people to respond, where they don't really have to think down it.
Yeah.
The toilet paper example. Does the toilet paper go over or under?
Oh.
Do you like mashed potatoes or French fries better? I mean, silly stuff that people have very strong opinions about.
Yeah.
That are non-threatening, that are going to get them to engage.
Uh-huh.
So that's one thing. Another thing is including multimedia makes a big difference. For a long time, images were the be-all and end-all on Facebook specifically. Now videos have much bigger impact, just because of where Facebook is right now. It's trying to compete with YouTube, so it's making a big deal out of its videos.
Okay.
So if you're posting native video content that you're uploading directly to Facebook versus putting it on YouTube and putting the link, that's going to give you a little bump beyond what you get otherwise. So it's all those little subtle things, and just experiment. Think outside of the box. Ask people what they like and don't like, and don't just ask people, but look at your actual numbers. A lot of people ignore Facebook Insights or Twitter Analytics or Pinterest Analytics. Mm-hmm. All of these social media platforms have very powerful analytics tools, mm-hmm. free and accessible to you. Yeah. So when you take the time to look at that, it's kind of like paying attention to the body language of the people you're talking to.
Yeah. I didn't even think about Twitter analytics. I always go on my Facebook analytics and check them weekly to make sure, who, when, because it changes. Depending on if I've got new people coming in and which days they're on, what times they're on, makes a big difference. So yeah, that's great. So
on Facebook particularly, if you have an organic post that's doing especially well, mm-hmm. you might even want to consider spending $5 and boosting the post to get that to a little wider audience. Because that can make a huge difference in your engagement too.
Do you like posts? Do you like boosting posts? Because I always was told, don't boost a post; it's a waste of time. It's like,
there's a lot of debate about this social media world, and I would say, ultimately, is the perfect answer that you should be building your ads outside of boosting a post? Yes. But the reality is that most of us do not have the time or the energy to learn and understand all of the subtleties of Facebook advertising. Oh. It can be an extremely powerful tool if you know how to use it.
Yeah.
But, if you're trying to keep to a very small advertising budget, like $20 a month or less, and you know who it is you're trying to target, because you can do some level of targeting with boost posts.
Okay.
I would say try it. Do it. Do it a couple of times. If you throw $5 at something and it doesn't work, it's not a big loss.
Right.
So there, and the other thing though is that a lot of people use boost posts completely wrong. They take something that they really want people to see and try to shove it in their faces, basically. Yeah. And that doesn't work, which is why I said take the things that are already organically doing well. Your audience basically is already sending you the signals, we like this, and then make sure it gets to a wider audience.
Okay.
That's much more effective. Okay. Because then you're going to have people sharing it and spreading it organically too, and your organic reach will go up as well.
Right. Okay. That's great. That's great feedback. So of all the social medias, I know everybody's different. Do you have a personal favorite that you just like? Better?
I have a tendency to really like Twitter, actually, from a business standpoint. Twitter is my steady go-to. Like, I know how to really reach in and get results out of that platform consistently every single time. Now, with the exception that if you're strictly a local business, Twitter is going to be a little more difficult because it's harder to target geographically on Twitter.
Yeah.
But for business, I love Twitter. But it's so hard because I really like LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a fantastic tool. And for personal use, I'm definitely on Facebook more than anything else. Just because that's kind of my personal space where I share about my kids. And I don't share as much business stuff on there. So I use it for a different purpose. But I enjoy that too.
That's awesome. Those are great tools, great tips. Thanks for sharing. Really appreciate that. So, okay, so one of the things, me and I'm all about, visual and branding and things like that. So, do you have anything that you would like to share as far as, how do you promote yourself or your business? How are you branding yourself online and offline? What's working?
Media.
Social media.
Social media.
Duh.
My business entirely on social media. I've done ads and advertising for clients, but I actually have not ever done paid advertising for my own business personally. And it's all about social media. It's all about relationship building. As far as branding goes and social media, a couple quick little things. This is one of my pet peeves a little bit. And just because it really does hurt your results is make sure your branding is consistent across all your social media platforms.
Yes.
So that generally means you should be using the same profile picture. You definitely should have, if not the exact same header image, something that has your logo, has similar colors and images. When you have social media platforms that your Facebook looks radically different from your Twitter, looks radically different from your YouTube, it's hard for people to even feel confident that they found the right spot or this is even really you. There's so many people out there. There's so many similar names and everything else. So make sure that your branding is consistent. make sure you're using a tool like namechecker.com when you, if possible, when you first set up your business, so you can make sure that your name is available, not just your domain name, but it's available as a username on all the major social media platforms. Because that consistency does make a big difference.
Yeah, I always tell my brand clients, all of my students, stuff, consistency is the word. That is the key to everything. It's the key to social media too. It's staying consistent. I mean, I've done some testing on that because I manage a couple of different like Facebook pages and such, and by far, the ones that I'm consistently posting are the ones that are growing. So it makes sense. Yeah. It's the same thing with branding. So absolutely. So, so who in the, like, as far as like, and you can pick out out of any of the hats that you wear, who inspires you the most? Like for your business?
Who inspires me?
Who inspires you?
This is maybe going to be cliche or not helpful, But my kids, it's really about the reason why I do what I do. I've learned over time and a lot of hard knocks not to really put too much emphasis on what any other person is doing, because there have been people who I've really admired and respected, and then when they do something that falls outside of that image that I have of them, it can be really difficult to know how to move forward. So people are just people. We all have our mistakes and our flaws. I do, you do, everybody does. So, I try to learn everything I can from everybody, and not put too much stock in status.
Yeah.
Honestly, there are people who I've just met and had brief interactions with at an airport or wherever, that have been really life-changing.
Yeah.
Where there are people who are the bigwigs, quote unquote, that are not as helpful. So I think it's just about adopting an attitude of curiosity and willingness to learn in every interaction, because you can learn something from everybody. But the people who really keep getting me up every day, literally, whether I want to sleep in or not, are definitely my boys. They're the reason that I do everything I do.
Yeah, and I have to say, I totally agree with you there. I always say that my kids are my masterpieces. They are my masterpieces, and they are. I mean, they are what why I drive myself. So they know that they can do what they love, and So yes, I love that. So okay, so what has been since we're both entrepreneurs, it's not always a bed of roses. So knowing that, there's always, the highs, the lows, the peaks, the in-betweens, but what has been like a challenging moment or a challenging time that it happened in your business and you say, this is what I really learned from that maybe would help our audience so that they can learn to say, hey, it's okay. We've all been there.
Well, I think the thing, it's hard to pin down one.
Yeah, if you had to pick one.
And I think the one lesson is to just keep getting up and doing it. I know for myself, I'm very big on time frames, and I'm very big on goals, and I'm very big on I want to be at X place by X time. It was quite devastating to me when I turned 30, and I'm like, no, I'm never going to be on any 30 under 30 list because I'm not under 30 anymore. I still have the 40 under 40 that I can aim for.
There you go.
But I think we do that to ourselves. We put these goals and achievements that we expect, which is great. It's a really good thing to do. But when we don't get there, it can just be like, oh, I'm a failure. Like there have been so many points in time where I hit a roadblock or I hit a difficult time in my life or my business, and I'm just like, I just need to go get a job. Why do I think I can do this?
We've all been there.
Be different.
Yeah.
And thankfully, nobody's ever hired me during those roles. Mostly, because it really wouldn't have served me or my goals long term. But even when you hit those hard points or things take longer than you think we're going to or they should,
right?
Just learn what you can and keep getting up every day and taking one step, no matter how small, towards that bigger picture. And when you make those consistent efforts over time, it's amazing how much it can add up to,
Yeah.
and how far you'll get, and all kinds of things will happen that you never even would have thought to plan or dream of or
Right.
shoot for.
Yeah, I totally agree with you there. I think I don't think we give ourselves enough credit. I know I am really bad about that. I mean, I'll like work and work. I'm a workhorse. I'll work until I get it done, and then if it's not achieving the success or the whatever I'm trying to get to what I think I need, then I'll like, and I'll like I don't give myself credit for what I did, what I accomplished, and so I think we need to do that too. I think that's something that as entrepreneurs, I know a lot of us do that. So, but I think that's great advice. Everything you just said. So, so speaking about advice, are there any advice that you would give to someone who's just starting out? For like whether it's social media or if they're a writer, what kind of advice would you give them for starting out as an entrepreneur?
Mm-hmm. Be consistent.
Mm-hmm.
That's the number one thing. If you still have your 9-to-5 job, you're trying to start something on the side, make sure you put into your schedule time to work on it every day, because there's tons of stuff that we say, I'm going to work out, I'm going to write a book, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, I'm going to paint my house, and unless it gets on your calendar, it doesn't exist.
Right.
So put it on your calendar. Make appointments with yourself, and treat those with all the severity that you would a doctor's appointment or whatever the most serious thing in your life is. Because we often hold commitments to everybody else but ourselves.
Yes.
So I would say that first. The second thing I would say is surround yourself with smart people and learn everything you can from them. A mastermind group is a great way to do that. But also, read, learn from everybody you can. But also, at the same time, trust your instincts. Because I think a lot of times we can get caught up in what this or that expert has to say, and we lose sight of our own inner wisdom. And ultimately, you are the only person who has all of the information to make a decision in your life, because you're the only one living it. Everybody else can give advice and input based on the piece of the puzzle or the sliver that they see or that you shared with them. But you're the only one who has all the information. So trust those instincts. And even when they're wrong, that's okay. You're just learning and growing and becoming better.
Yeah.
So this would be the three things I would say would be consistent, surround yourself with smart people, and trust your own inner wisdom.
That's great advice. Those are great pieces of wisdom for people, because I think a lot of times it's easy to get all engrossed with the shiny object or that new program or this new expert or what, all of that. And so, and I've learned that even as old as I am, it's like you have to step back and go, okay, give yourself some permission to listen to your inner self, to see, okay, is this right for me? Because it may not be, right? So, yeah. So, no, I don't know. One of the things I love are quotes. And I don't know if you've got any great quotes in your head that you'd like to share with us, but I'd love to hear if you've got a great favorite quote that you would like to share with our audience, because I'll definitely be putting it into our interview notes too. So
nice. Yes, I do love quotes. They're one of my favorite things.
Me too.
The one that comes to mind, and I think serves in all situations, is a quote from Winston Churchill. It says, "Success is not final. Failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts." And I think that's applicable in all situations, because we can get to the point where when we're successful, we do things, we kind of let off a little bit on our innovation, on our curiosity, on all the things that were fantastic that got us to that point. We can make failures and feel like it's the end of the world. Neither of those things are really true. It's just about those daily choices we make every single day and having the courage to be and live and improve and grow and make the most of our humanity and of our time, because it's so limited in the grand scheme of things. So if I had to pick one quote for all situations, that would probably be it.
That's a great quote. And to piggyback on what you're saying, I think it's so true. It's like I'm learning even now, relearning balance, to have that balance in your life. And, life is short. We get one time to do this. So, capturing those moments and such. So I know you've got some big things coming up in your future here this summer, Miss Busy Bee. So you want to share with us what you've got going on? What kind of projects are you working on?
Yes. Well, of course, I've got this children's book that I'm crowdfunding right now. That's very exciting. Multiculturalism in children's literature is a passion of mine, and I think so important to help move us as a society to the next level of diversity and tolerance and acceptance and equality and all of those kinds of very important things.
Very important.
I'm doing some traveling this summer. I'm going to be speaking at a few different places all over the country. I'm going to be in Indianapolis, Atlanta, Virginia Beach, New York, and Toronto in June. So I've got author luncheons where I'm meeting with authors, and those are open and available to anyone who wants to come. Awesome. And network with other authors in their area and pick my brain about publishing and book marketing and all that kind of stuff. There's a social media marketing boot camp that I'm doing in Atlanta that's for any businesses who want to figure out how to make their social media work. It's a hands-on workshop to kind of put all those pieces together for them.
Perfect.
And then just some fun hangout events, and so I enjoy, as much as I love social media, I really enjoy getting an opportunity to meet with people face to face. So that's my favorite part about traveling, is just getting in the same room with somebody. So.
Yeah, that's great. I know. I have to admit, I just came off of a local workshop here, and I missed it. I did 4 Mondays in a row, and when the following Monday came, I'm like, because I missed that interaction. Because we're always on the computer, right? So that's always what we're always thinking about. So I am so excited to hear about all your traveling. I can't wait to post all the information. I'll have that all on our page. And thank you so much for joining us, Miss Rivka, and sharing all your abundant expertise and knowledge and information and insight.
Yes, well, and thank you. I apologize. My 5-year-old is running around. If you hear all the Lego background noise, that's totally all him.
You know what? And it's totally okay.
Just one of the wonders of living in the world that we have.
Exactly. Yeah, yes, exactly. No worries here at all. So thanks for joining us, and I really appreciate you being on the call. And I'm sure I'll be talking to you, next week.
Oh yeah.
All right. Thanks for calling. Thanks for coming in on the call with us.
Thank you, Darla. Have a great day.
You too. Bye-bye, honey.